and then the cocaine is added to it in the end.
I want to talk to you about some of the works and just look around at this show.
Perfect.
Are there any works that you feel you want to go to immediately to speak to us about?
I feel like we should talk about, we were talking about queering, right? And then like, I feel in terms of like, if you really realize my other work, I feel like this is something that is like the thing that I was most nervous about like showing, because I've never really shown like nudity or like the sort of like the body in this way, especially something so like in these kind of like pinkish hues, which is like circumstantial of the materials being used. But there is something kind of a little bit more subtle about this particular work, with like kind of like these brushstrokes and these like painterly aspects that you are very different from the rest of the works in the show. Kind of makes it like more unique. You might think that that one has it as well, but this is kind of more effort into these kind of motions, and this is kind of very like visceral like movements. You can see my fingers. It's done with like iron oxide and polyurethane mixed together, and then other so it gives this mauve color and this dark color. These more brighter reds actually come from a real paint, which is like a gouache, like a red gouache. That's like trying to imitate like cadmium red. You really see the texture of like these armatures kind of like poking out, and you can kind of see more of the body. But I think this is like the most kind of, while it being a smaller piece, the one that is most extrapolated, like a wider view, while everything else is just like so tight, like with the other pieces. So I was like working in the kitchen one day, and I was just like staring at them, and I started like piling them onto each other and like creating these like kind of pillars and these like vertebra almost. And I thought it echoed really well with the rest of the show. But I just think that the making them like this sort of like permanent structure, and also almost very precarious. It's also something that migrants and migrant workers kind of like transport around the city with like deli like food.
Yeah.
I think like ordering delivery in the rain is like a really horrible experience because it's like, I have no food at home, but I have to order this, and then somebody in the rain will bring you this deli container, and it's just like this like labor, and it's like kind of like a symbol of this ubiquitous labor that was inescapable.
Yeah.
So like imagine this is like your mid back here, and this is like the top of your neck over here. So it's only like these mounts of like vertebra like kind of going down. So it's actually a smaller section, and then this is actually just like this. So if you imagine this like the whole body, like those like shoulder blades would be like gigantic.
For this, I'm wondering, when you were painting these, because you keep a lot of the original fabric color there. Were you being careful to avoid painting them, or is it just because there's the pressure there, it does show through? Oh no,
so what happens is like, this is done in like layers and layers. So there's like one layer that would go down, which is like the gypsum and the plaster. And then it is a steel brush goes over the entire thing, and then it's painted again with like, so then you'll see that it's actually like multiple, like 6 or 7 different layers of like painting on this. So it's like painted and then stripped, and then painted and then stripped, and then painted and stripped, and painted and stripped. And then and the final thing is it's stripped again, and that's why where the metal of the wire brush hits the metal of the armature, it creates more friction. So that's why these appear. Like this particular piece really is a living thing. Like it will change and move and do things over time. This part, the light blue, that's like thiox and bleach, and then it's like stripped, and then it's dyed again, and then it's stripped.
And you achieve this almost fractalized effect with this work?
Yeah.
Is there a level of tying and dyeing, or is this all brushwork?
This is similar to, there is tying and dyeing, and there is brushwork to it. So like you'll see these dark darker pieces that kind of go in to give the denim a little bit more dimension. So it's not just one flat piece of denim. So you have blacks and different wears and tears. Like there's like a wear and tear over here, and there's like some added black here and here. And so that's kind of done. And then it's bent. I wouldn't say tied. It's just like bent and folded. It's like just like a lot of bending and folding, and then it's put into the thiox and bleach and then dyed. It's stripped of its color, and that was done like 6 times, because like you strip it, and then the nature of indigo is that it comes back. And then we have to wait, and then we redo it, and then wait and redo it and redo it. And like it's kind of crazy. Like all of these works is just kind of a lot of this labor of like building something and stripping it down. And then over here, this is more, these reds are more purposely like painted on and dyed. And then the cocaine is added to it at the end.
Did you say cocaine?
Yeah, the cocaine is inside the textile. Yeah. Okay. So you mix like milk and cocaine together, which is like really weird, and then also like a fabric bond, and then so right through the center over here and through these areas here, so you can see like where this is getting darker, and over here in the center it's darker. That's actually like the cocaine and the milk like making reminding the indigo that it exists, so the indigo is kind of coming out. Well, we thought that like the cocaine wouldn't really do anything necessarily, because it is at a pH of 7, so cocaine really wouldn't like do that much difference to it. But I think what happened is like the reintroduction of like a protein liquid like milk and the other things will kind of like moves the dye.
You hear that, kids? Also, science, you can't escape science or math.
No.
Art school does not help you escape it.
No, it's actually like amplifies.
Yeah.
More science.
Yeah. This one I feel you really is the most, I don't want to call it didactic, but it's the most, where we really see the most bodily form, most obvious bodily form.
Mm-hmm. This is like bleach painting. So it's painted. It's like it's an earthen fabric canvas that has been dyed with like reds and blacks to create these kind of movements here. This red and the blacks, and then it's painted with bleach with my fingers. So I'm actually like dipping my fingers in bleach and then like
with
painting.
Gloves?
I did it with gloves initially.
Okay.
And then I decided not to use the gloves, because the gloves kind of like there wasn't because like you need the fingerprints to like hold. This is another science tip. You need fingerprints to hold the bleach in the finger, because like when you dip your fingers with the gloves on in the bleach, it just falls off. So you're like literally so that's why there's like so many of these like bleach stains like dripping down, which I don't really care. I really like them. But it's because of like the speed of which you have to do it with the gloves versus if you just do it with your fingers. So yeah, so like just like a good thing that I was working in kitchen and that my fingers have like calluses and all that kind of stuff. So then it worked fine.
As we jokingly remarked about the most sellable thing here.
Yeah.
These candles. Is there a scent to them when they're burned?
There is like a series of, they all smell different.
Okay.
I thought more people would be interested in bending down and smelling it.
Oh, I did. I thought I looked crazy when I first came to saw the show. I was like,
well, yes, you have to, but because like this is like it's very like, you know, church-esque.
Yeah.
It's giving Catholic. So I really wanted these to be down so that people could like kneel down and smell them, which is like a lot of people have done. But they do have like different scents. Like I have like 4 different scents that I change with each one. So the scents are water, wet soil, Play-Doh, and clay. Okay. Yeah, which wet soil and clay smell like you'd think smell similar, but they don't.
Yeah, no, because it's like petrichor versus like dust.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then this work of it is sort of where you're showing us the spine more than anywhere else. Yeah, and it's also got the dyes on it.
And it's a TV antenna.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Pick that up.
It's a TV antenna. It's quite, that's where the structure is coming from, right? And like the vertebra, like the spine itself, or like the chest. And then it's this kind of like eternal rent means to like rent. The other meaning for rent is to like pull apart, to tear apart, to rent a fabric. So, but also like rent. So it's a eternal rent is like the play on the words, the double meaning of rent. And so this is like really what the show is like, the pulling apart of like the fabric and the self, and like exposing so eternally pulling yourself apart.
That's so lovely.
Yeah.
But yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you to Management Gallery for letting us film here. Yeah. I think we're good.
Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah.
Can I take the mic off?
Yeah, and you're free now. We're gonna take some stills of words to cut.
Do you want to hear me like rip this like off, like the
Yes,
like just like the hair, just